Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Mike, and in this video I'm going to show you step-by-step how to make an e-commerce website, an online store, so you can start selling things today on a beautiful professional website that requires absolutely no coding. It doesn't take any prior knowledge, and I really will show you everything in this video on how to set up that website. So we're not selling any kind of course. We're not going to get halfway through and upsell you and say, oh, pay for more information. This is a full comprehensive tutorial to show you anything and everything we think you need to know to be successful with an online store. So what we're going to be using in this video is something called WordPress. You might have heard of it. It's an incredibly popular way to build any style of website, powering more than 1/3 of the internet and trusted by many, many big brands out there. So there are a couple steps to using WordPress though. So the first thing is we will need a domain. Now the domain is going to be essentially what you type in into your browser to get to the website. So google.com, facebook.com, those are all domains. We need to find our own domain, we'll buy a domain, and usually pay for those. They're about $10 or $15 per year, so they're a relatively low cost. The second thing we'll have to do then is actually find a host. So WordPress is completely free to use, which might sound like, oh, why would I want to use something free when I could use something paid? Well, there are a lot of benefits to using WordPress, which is free, and first thing is that it is open source, which means there are a lot of people that can improve it, they can fix it, and there are a lot of integrations, tons and tons of plugins and themes and templates, and it's so easy for anybody to work with that it ends up being a very, very robust system with a lot of options and a lot of integrations. So using a free platform like that is incredibly powerful, which is why so many people do it. And on top of that, the next thing we'll actually have to do is find a host. Now, the host is going to be where your WordPress website is saved. So I like to use this analogy. You can think of WordPress as Microsoft Word, like the document editing software. It's great for editing your website, for making your website, but if you just close out of it, it goes away. You need somewhere to actually save the document. You need somewhere to save the website. And so the website is saved on a server, which is your host. Now, your host is going to have servers that are running 24/7 so that whenever anybody wants to see your website, they can access it and they can see your website. Now, of course, you could self-host on your own computer or something like that, but people don't do that because you have limitations with traffic, you're not going to have your computer on all the time, and it's just always better and more robust to use the servers. From what we're going to use is actually Hostinger. Now, Hostinger is incredibly popular as well for their really, really high-end options at also a very, very competitive price. So we like using Hostinger, and with the combination of everything I just mentioned, we will be ready to go. It's going to be very easy to make this website, and you have a lot of options, selling physical products, digital products, variable products. I'll give examples for all of these in the video, but let's get started heading over to my laptop. The first thing we want to do is either click on the link in the top of the description or type in Santrel Media, santrelmedia.com/hostinger. Hostinger. And the reason for this is because we've actually talked with Hostinger. We found you guys the best deals possible. And so if you use our link, you'll be able to start on the same page I'm starting on, so you can follow along step by step, and you will be getting any kind of advantages. You'll see some pricing differences a little bit later on in this video. So right here you can see, first of all, we have the $2.99 per month sale. These sales are subject to change, of course, but that is why we wanted to use Hostinger in the first place. Not only is it a very nice high-end option, but it also has a very low cost of just $2.99 per month compared to a lot of other hosts out there, which are $10, $15, $20 a month. It's really appealing to use something like this that also gives you a lot of really nice, like they give you a domain here, lifetime SSL. We'll talk about what those mean later on, but let's actually go and click on Get Started, the big button in the middle, and they're going to show us, first of all, do we want to select this web hosting? Well, there are other hostings we can choose from, so you might want to go up here and click on Hosting and click on Web Hosting, and this is going to show you a couple different options. We've got $1.99 per month for the single shared hosting, we've got premium shared hosting, and we have business shared hosting. The price difference, I mean, you can see they're all very affordable, but as you go down here, you can look at what the differences are. So this one's only good for one website. It has 30 gigabytes of storage, which for some people, this might be enough. You're getting about 10,000 visits per month. And keep in mind, you can always upgrade this as well. So if you choose one hosting and later you decide, hey, my website's scaled, I want to go with something a little better, you can always upgrade that. But for the purposes of this video, I think really the most popular option for most people is going to be this middle one, the premium shared hosting. You are getting a free email account, you're getting free SSL, you're getting a free domain, at least for the first year, and that Google Ads credit and unlimited bandwidth. You're getting a lot of nice, solid things that will give you a good setup for a solid website, especially one that's going to be selling things online. So we're going to go and click on Select. And then we're going to go down here and they're going to ask us how long we want to pay for this. It's $11.99 per month if you just pay for 1 month. And there's also that $5 setup fee. If you pay for 12 months, you're going to be looking at $2.99 per month, which is a really good deal. Or you can pay for 48 months, which is also $2.99 per month. So I would recommend for most people either do 48 months if you're really confident you're going to be using it for that long. And keep in mind, after this promo ends, so if you pay for $2.99 for 1 year, after that it's going to go up to it's going to renew at $8.99 per month. Whereas this one right here renews at $6.99 per month, so that's a benefit, and you're locking in $2.99 per month for 4 years. But again, that really just depends on your budget. It's going to be $140 for 4 years of having a website. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to go with the 1 year plan, just $35, which is barely more than the 1 month plan. Additionally, if you type in the coupon code Santrel, you will get that discount as well. So we're looking at $32 for an entire year of hosting a website. That comes with a domain, that comes with the setup, the SSL, like, I don't know, you're really not going to find many competitors that price it anywhere near this, which is, again, why we like to use that. Now we're going to have to add our credit card to pay for this, and I'm going to submit the secure payment, and I'll see you on the next screen. And now we can click on Start Now. And it's going to walk you through a couple different questions here. It doesn't really matter that much what you answer, so if anything is like you're in between two, don't worry about it because no matter what, I mean, you can just skip it on the bottom and it's really just going to affect your dashboard on Hostinger more so than anything else. Now with this question, we are going to select WordPress. We can do WordPress with WooCommerce, but we're going to add WooCommerce later on in the video anyway. So for right now, I'm just going to only select WordPress. It really won't make any kind of difference here. Like I said, we can add WooCommerce. It's free to add anyway, and there is an easier way to add it later on. So right now it's going to ask for us to create a WordPress account. And now this is going to be separate from your Hostinger account. Now keep in mind, Hostinger is where your website is hosted. WordPress is where you actually build your website. And so because of that, you have two different accounts. Do not forget the password for either one of these, especially for the second one, the WordPress account, because, I mean, obviously you really will need that. And then it's going to ask you to choose a template. I really recommend not choosing a template right now. There are many other ones that I think you would like a lot more that I'll show you in just a second. So we are going to skip and say, I don't need a template right now. And then we're going to claim our free domain that's going to make you get it directly through Hostinger. Of course, you could go through Namecheap or Google Domains or any other place out there. But I find that Hostinger's prices are about the same as anybody else's. And so I'm going to choose, let's just say we're going to have maybe some type of coffee shop. So then we can choose to either use an existing domain, buy a domain, or claim a free domain. I recommend opening a new tab right now and going to domains.google.com. And from here you can type in any domain you want. I'm not saying buy it from Google. It's just a good place to search for domains because they give you some ideas of what's available and what different endings are available. So if I just want to say maybe a coffee shop, so maybe lunacoffee.com, it'll tell us that that's taken, .org, .net. Like, because there are 3 here, I don't think that's a good idea to use this as a business name because the SEO or the search engine optimization is going to be really difficult. You're competing with a lot of people that have a really similar name. So maybe instead we'd call it Lunar Cappuccino or something. Lunar Coffee. Maybe we'll call it like that. Slightly misspelled, and there we go. It is available at $12 per year right here, but although you can get it through Google Domains here or Namecheap or a lot of other places that usually are pretty inexpensive, I want to see if we could just get it as a free domain. So select free domain right here, and we're going to type in Lunar Coffee. We're going to search. It is, I believe, available as you saw in Google Domains. Right there it says domain is available. So I'm going to continue with this. Now, this does renew at $14 per year versus $12 per year, an extra $2 that's going to Hostinger. But you get the first year for free anyway. So, I mean, it's a break-even point of like 7 years. I think it's just easier to do it directly through Hostinger. And so, although I like searching on Google Domains, I'm just going to do it through Hostinger for this video. And then down here, it's going to ask us to finish our WordPress setup. So everything looks good with that. I'm going to click Finish Setup. And it should just take a couple minutes here to actually make our website, to build it on the back end. And it'll ask us a couple more primary details. So the country right now is the United States. That's where I am. We're going to call this a personal, we're going to call it a company or organization. We'll say Next. And now it's going to ask for some contact details. And now it's going to register our domain. It's going to set up our WordPress website. And so this is going to take a couple minutes. And then after that, we'll be ready to go. So from here, it's going to ask us if we want to go and manage WordPress on the WordPress dashboard, if we want to view our website, or go to the control panel. Just really quickly, I want to go to the control panel and make sure everything's set up. We have our SSL, which is the little encryption lock on the top left. I want to make sure that we have everything we need so that we're ready to go. So I'm going to click on Manage Site. From here, I want to go down and first check if we have SSL. So if we go down here, you can see SSL. We'll click on that, and we want to make sure that that is enabled. So you can see it's not, so we'll click on Install SSL. It's going to be installed, and that way we will, like I said, have HTTPS instead of HTTP, and on the top you can get that little lock icon. So it's going to do that, which is great. It's installing, and in the meantime, let's go back to our dashboard, and I want to go down and make sure that we have daily backups as well. So if we go down here, there should be something that says daily backups or just backups in general. Backups, there we go. So we'll click on that one, and we should have a pop-up coming up here that says, there we go, add daily backups to your website. So I'm going to click on add daily backups. This is something that is $1 per month if you pay for 2 years at a time. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm not actually going to follow through with this, but it's something I highly, highly recommend. It has saved me so many times on so many different websites. A lot of people won't tell you this, but I mean, sometimes things go wrong. You don't know. Sometimes you end up with like new plugins come out, or they come out with updates, and if you don't install them in the right order, sometimes your website could crash. Some things could happen, or maybe it's a user error and you screw up and somehow broke your website. It's so convenient to have a daily backup that you can just go in there and bring it back to yesterday's website, which was perfectly fine, and it fixes all of your problems. It's a nice little reset button that, like I said, I've used so many times. I've used this at least a couple dozen times in the past couple years with different websites, and it has absolutely saved me in every single time to not have to rebuild the entire website. So again, I can't emphasize this enough, $1 per month, that is absolutely worth it. So like I said, this is a tutorial though, so I'm not going to do it for this website because, I mean, I'm just going to delete the website after this video. And that's really all I wanted to show you on here. So if we close this tab, or just go back to the other tab, remember that we have two other options besides Control Panel. One of them is View Your Website, and the other one is Manage WordPress. There is another way to get to your WordPress dashboard, and I want to show you guys that now so you don't always have to come through Hostinger to get to your WordPress dashboard. But first, I want to point out, if you click on View Website, you'll see the website right now just looks like absolutely nothing. It's just a little hello world is all it says. But let's talk about how we can actually access our website. So if we go to open a new tab, we can type in lunarcoffee.com. That's our domain, /wp-admin. And we'll hit enter, and this will take us to our WordPress sign-in. Now remember, you have the username and password for this already. We set it up a couple minutes ago. So type that in and log in now. And there we go, we're on the WordPress dashboard, which I know looks very intimidating, but I promise it's actually very user-friendly. Like, I'll walk you through everything. It's all located on the left side, and this is really going to be where pretty much everything you need is. Now, when they give it to you like this, there is a lot of, I don't want to call it bloatware, but just things that you don't need on here. So let's go down to where you see plugins. We'll click on plugins on the left side, and from plugins, we have a lot that we just don't need right now. And I want to clear all these out so we don't have too much going on, so it's a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to work with throughout this video. So going through these, the first one, the anti-spam one, I actually will keep that because sometimes if you have comments on blogs, you can get spam comments in there, you can get all types of different things, and so it is kind of convenient to have that. All-in-one SEO, all-in-one WordPress migration, Google Analytics by Monster Insights. Actually, I'll keep Monster Insights, but Hello Dolly, Lightspeed Cache, Opt-in Monster, and WordPress Forms Lite. I'm going to get rid of all of those. We can install them later on if we want them, but in general, having too many plugins is not a good thing. It's really a bad thing in that, remember how before I said it's important to have backups because sometimes plugins can break or things can happen. Well, the more plugins you have, the more possibility there is of things going wrong, things not updating or whatever it is, like you don't need them. So I'm gonna go down here to bulk actions. We're going to deactivate. We'll click on apply. And then while they're still selected, or I guess we will have to reselect them. So we'll go to inactive, we'll select all of them. And now let's go and delete them. So click delete, click on apply, and we're going to get rid of all of those. There we go. They're all going to be gone. We'll go back to all. And the only plugin we have now is the Google Analytics one, which is pretty useful in my opinion. Monster Insights just helps you connect to Google Analytics, which can show you a lot about who's visiting your website. So That's the first thing we want to do. Now, next, I'm going to show you guys how to get a really nice, clean template here. Not just a template, but really a full-blown website that's ready to go, that all you have to do is drag and drop and change a couple words here and there, and you have a website that is ready to go for your own products. But before we do that, there are a couple more little housekeeping things I want to talk about. The next one is, notice how this still says not secure up there. Let's go to settings. So if we click on settings, it'll show us right there, this is what our WordPress account is. So I'm going to type in HTTPS. Just put the little S in there. It sounds stupid, but that's really all you have to do. And then we'll go down here and save changes. It's going to make you sign in again for this. And you should see the login page again, but if you don't, if you see some kind of error, go back to the other tab that says SSL, the one that we had earlier, and make sure that it says the status is active. If it says it's still pending or installing, then just walk away, get a cup of coffee, and within the next maybe 5 or 10 minutes, it should be active. So now I'm going to go back here. Hopefully you didn't have the error and it just came to this, and I'm going to sign back in again. And there we go. You'll notice that now we have the little lock icon on the top, which is great. The SSL is enabled, it's ready to go, and we have those basic settings all set. One last thing I want to do in settings before we go and actually build out this website is I want to make sure that we have the right website name and tagline. So the site title, instead of being lunarcoffee.com, I'm going to call it Lunar Coffee with some capital letters there. There we go. And then instead of the tagline being just another WordPress site, let's give it something else. And we're ready to go. So what we want to do is actually find a good template. In order to do that, we'll first need a good theme. So on the left side, if you go to Appearance, you can see Themes, click on Themes. And there are 3 themes that come with this right now, 2021, 2020, and 2022. I don't recommend using any of those. Instead, we want to go to Add New on the top. And from here, we have a theme library with a lot to choose from. You don't have to scroll far because Astra is really one of the most popular ones. It's one that we use a lot on a lot of different websites. And so we are going to, you see Astra right here, we're going to click on Install. It's going to install it, but don't click off this yet because the thing about WordPress is you have to install things and then you have to activate them. So we're going to click on Activate, and you'll see that kicks you back to right here. You want to make sure that it is the active one. If it's not, just click on Activate again. And so we have this activated, it's ready to go. And what we want to do is really this right here, this little pop-up, but just in case you don't have that pop-up, I want to show you where you can find this. The starter templates is the next thing we were looking for. But like I said, just in case any of you don't see this pop-up, you can go over to the left side, click on Astra Options. And from here, you'll see on the right side, Install Importer Plugin. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to activate that, and it'll take you to this page here. We're going to go down here and say build your website now. It's going to ask us what we want to use to build this, and we have the block editor. Don't use that. We've got Beaver Builder, which is very popular as well, but Elementor is really the #1 that we like to use. And so click on that one. It's going to install Elementor, which is your drag and drop plugin that gives you a very visual and easy to use tool base to actually build the entire website. So from here, we can go down and see any of these templates we like, but I would like to filter them out a little bit. So from here, we can search for starter templates that are related to e-commerce. So we can say e-commerce, just click on that and go to, let's just say online shop. Online shop would be a good one. And of course, keep in mind here, there are also like online courses or course marketplace. There's a lot of different options for how you want, or many different themes or templates you can choose from. So from here, I'm going to click on online shop, see what we have, and see if any of these jump out to me as something related to maybe a coffee shop. So this one right here is already looking pretty promising. We can go down and see. I'm just going to go through these and we'll see if we can find a good one. And I think this one right here actually might be the one that I want to choose. So if you click on it, it'll show you what the website looks like. So you can see that it has a couple products down here. It's got little kind of dividers. I think overall it looks pretty good. They're selling organic like vegetables or juice or whatever, and we're going to be selling coffee grinds and other coffee related products that people can order online. So that's close enough, and keep in mind it doesn't really matter what is being sold on the template because we're going to change all of that anyway, but in general, if it's kind of the same vibe, that's going to really help a lot further on down the road. So here, it's going to ask us to upload our logo. It's going to show us what it looks like right now, or we could skip and continue on with this. I'm going to go and upload my logo right now. And as you can see right here, I just made a quick little logo on canva.com. I think it looks pretty decent, definitely good enough for this. So I'm going to have my little logo. It shows up in the corner. We're going to choose the width of it. I think we don't want it too big, probably something like that's about the right size. We're going to click on continue, and they're going to ask us to choose a color palette now. So they really walk you through this process of setting up this template for you. And of the color palettes, you can customize it, but I think of these, This one probably looks the closest to what I wanted, maybe a little bit darker, yeah. And you can change this later on as well, but I'm gonna go down here and choose the font. So between these fonts, I think in general, I tend to be a preference of Roboto. I think it looks a little cleaner, so I'm gonna go with that one. We're gonna say continue, and it's going to ask us a little bit more about us before we submit and build the website. This is mostly just a survey. And I'd recommend leaving the checkboxes in the bottom checked so that you have the content, the widgets, and the customizer settings. So I'm going to submit and build the website. This is going to take maybe 5 or 10 minutes until it's actually ready. And then we'll come back and see our website is just about ready for us to actually start adding some of our own photos. I guess it wasn't actually 5 minutes, it took 27 seconds, but we can go and view our website in a new tab, and you can see the website looks good. It looks exactly like we expected it to. We have our color scheme there with the yellow kind of accents all over. We've got our logo in the top left. The logo links us back to home. And we've got 4 or 5 different pages here that all look pretty decent, including a all products page, which shows you all of the products you can obviously buy. And if you want to check out, say, this one, and we're going to change all the products, of course, it's going to show you the checkout page or the regular add to cart page. It shows you a lot about it. You can see reviews and some other recommended things as well. So I think this store is already looking really good. We barely did anything, and we have a full template that is ready to customize. The next thing we want to do before changing anything on this is actually add some of our own products. So let's say I have, for example, maybe like a coffee, maybe I have a bag of coffee grinds. We want to sell that. So if I just click on the WordPress icon on the top left, it'll take me back to my dashboard. And from the dashboard, we have way more things on the left side. You can see all the plugins that came with that template, one of them being WooCommerce. That's what I talked about earlier on. We didn't need to install it where we saw it earlier from Hostinger. Instead, it automatically gets installed with this template. So let's click on WooCommerce. And within here, it's going to walk us through, of course, some of the fundamentals to actually set up the store. Once we get through all of these, we will then add our products. So I'm going to start off by adding my address. We can select the type of product, so I'm going to say physical products, downloads, subscriptions, and you'll notice down here, WooCommerce does also allow you to have customizable products, bundles, bookings, or memberships. Those would cost you a little bit extra. WooCommerce is free to use unless you add those extra things on there. So I'm just gonna go with these 3 for now. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do that. So we're gonna say continue, and it'll take you to business details then. And so business details, I'm just going to say we have maybe 1 to 10 products, and we're not selling anywhere else. So I'm going to say continue, and continue with my active theme. WooCommerce then gives us this checklist, which is very convenient, and we're going to walk through this in a little bit, setting up payments, tax, shipping, marketing tools, and personalization. Again, we're not going to do that just yet because I really do want to add some products to this website. So if we click on products right now, it has a lot that came with that template. Now, we don't want any of those because we're obviously not selling those. So if I just click on the little select all box on the top left, we can have a bulk action. I'm going to move all of these to trash, click on apply, and now all 12 of them have been moved to trash. So we're ready to go. We're ready to add our own products here. And in order to do that, let's get rid of these pop-ups first. Let's click on the X right here, click on the little X right here, and this one we're just going to say, actually we're going to ignore that one for now. So let's go and add a new product. So when you click add new, it'll take you to this page here, and this one, you can see it asks for a product name. We're going to type in a paragraph about the product, and then it's going to we're going to talk more about some of the details with that product. So let's say, first of all, this is a 1 pound coffee ground, whatever, a bag of coffee grinds, and we want some text right here. And something that I always like to point out is in this text editor, you're not limited to just typing the text. You can have all types of things from numbered items, bulleted items. So if we want to have like a bulleted list, and let's just say, I don't need some text here, we're going to have a couple different things to note about the coffee grinds. Maybe we're going to say it's like all organic or something like that. That's nice to add down there. And additionally, we can bold different things. So if we want like this first sentence to be bolded or some other important words throughout here that we think are really important to be bolded, we can do that. And of course, we can do other things like add links in here as well. So we can click on the little chain icon and add a link to either another page on our website, or maybe if you have like a medium.com article or anything else, if it's like as seen on Forbes, you can link to some other things on here as well. It gives you a little bit more credibility, gives some linking out to other things, and additionally makes it a little bit more readable, a little bit more useful when somebody's reading through this. If they have a question about something and there's already a link to your About Me page, that is really beneficial as well. And of course, you could add some pictures in here or some other little like media things. I don't usually do that because most of the pictures will be added a little bit later on. So down here, the product data, we have multiple styles of products. We can have a simple product, which is what this one is. We can have a grouped product, an external or affiliate product, which means somebody else's product that you're just using an affiliate link and a picture for. We've got variable products, which might be if you have coffee grounds and they can choose the size of the bag, that would be a variable product. We have a simple subscription and a variable subscription as well. So I'm going to choose simple product. Additionally, you see virtual and downloadable. Obviously, you're not downloading your coffee, so simple product is what we want. And let's say that we're selling this one for, I don't know, $18. Say it's really high-end coffee, and we could say that if we have a sale price, maybe right now we're selling it for $16.99. That way it's going to say 18, it's going to cross it out, and it'll say $16.99, so I'm going to leave that. And the next thing on the left side, we're going to go down this on the left side. The inventory, this is something that we really like about WooCommerce. It tracks your inventory for you. So as you restock, you can type it in and say, I have this many more units, and they track how many have been sold. They give you warnings and alerts for when you need to buy more and things like that. So let's just say we have 100 bags in stock. We can enable stock management at product level, so which means that when stock quantity gets down to 10, we maybe do not allow back orders. So maybe once you get that low, if you have a long lead time, this might be a good way to kind of protect yourself and make sure that you don't end up selling to people that you don't have the product on hand. So anything below 10, we could say we just stop it. We don't allow back orders or anything like that. And we can have a low stock threshold, which means when we get to maybe 20, there's going to be that low stock indicator there. You can have this as an individual sale. So if you're selling like ammunition online or toilet paper in 2020 or whatever it might be, sometimes there are limits to how many boxes or units people can buy. And so you can limit that. You can limit that right here. Obviously, I don't care how many coffee bags people buy, so I'm going to just leave that as it is. Shipping, we can choose the weight of this. So this is obviously a 1-pound bag. So we might say, or that's kilograms right there. So we can change the dimensions later. I'm going to type it in US units of pounds right now. And the length will also be in inches right now. So I'm going to say maybe this is like 5 by 8 by 8. And we can have no shipping class right now. We can change the units of that later on. I will show you guys how to do that. We can have linked products right here if there's a cross-sell or an upsell. Being our first product, we don't have that, but I will explain what that is when we actually use that with the next product. The attributes here, there's nothing I really want to add. So you can add things like size or color or roast level or something like that. I'm not going to do that right now, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then we can go down to advanced. You see here it's going to be a purchase note, menu order, things like that, card flows, and some more options down there as well. And then on the bottom we have a product description, as well as you'll see an add media button here as well. It looks very similar to what we saw on the paragraph on the top, but here I'm just going to add a little product description. So it might be like about the product. And you'll see, I'll show you guys exactly where this shows up when we actually look at the website. And so here we might have like about the product. We can, again, add bold or add bulleted things or add some little quotes in there, whatever it might be. You can do all types of stuff like that. So I'm going to leave it as it is. And you might wonder right now why we don't have any pictures on here. You obviously want pictures for your products. Well, that's actually down on the bottom right. So we're going to start off on the bottom right and work our way up this right column. So you can go to product image. Let's set the product image. And from here, I actually already uploaded a bunch of files. Let's just say we want maybe this one right here. But of course, you would just go and click on upload files on the top left, click on select files from your laptop or your desktop, and you can upload them like that. Now, I already have them in here. I'm going to go with this one right here as our main image, and we want to add some alt text on here. Alt text is essentially just text that nobody sees, but the computer can see it. So Google can see this, and when Google's going through your website trying to figure out what it should rank for, it can look at this image, and they don't want to have to spend the energy to identify what it is. Instead, you write a little bit of text and say coffee. We could say lunar coffee beans. Lunar coffee beans, and so that way, that's the text is going to be there. That's what Google's going to identify this picture as. And so there is our product image, which is great. We have an image for our product. We can add a product gallery as well. So if we have more images of the product, so maybe like this one, maybe we want this picture as well. So I'm going to add one at a time. Let's add this one, actually both of those, and we'll go back up. And from here, we can see if we want to change anything within the Astra settings. So you can disable headers or titles or anything like that. I don't care. I think the default is going to look pretty nice as it is. Then we can add product tags as well. So I'm going to say this one is coffee. We're going to say grinds. We're going to say 1 pound. We're going to say bag. So those are the tags that I want, separated with commas. And up here we have the categories. Those are all old categories that I don't want to use. I'm going to add a new category and say coffee beans. Coffee beans. and we're not going to have a parent category. That is just the new category, and we will deal with categories in a second. But then from the top, we can actually see that everything's ready to go. We can publish this and just click on publish, and the first product is now listed on our website. On the top of the page, before we go back, you can see permalink right there. If we click on that, it'll show us what the page looks like, what the product looks like. And so you can see here essentially is the image that we have. We've got 2 other images as well. And it shows us the title of it. It says it's on sale. It's now $16.99. And remember the little paragraph that was titled a product description? That's going to show up right here. And the other paragraph that you guys saw that was on the top is actually going to be down here in the description section down below. We can see additional information as well. It's going to talk about the weight and the dimensions as well as reviews. They show you how many are available, the categories, the tags, things like that. And so we're ready to go. This first product, honestly, I think it looks pretty decent. So now I want to show you some of the different styles of products you can have. Of course, this one, I showed you that you are able to have some different variations, but you're not able to control nearly as much with that. So if we go to add a new product, the next one I want to show you is actually something called a variable product. So if we go down here to variable product, this is going to allow us to do a couple different things. But let's say that we want to have, for example, a t-shirt. So we're going to call this, Lunar Coffee t-shirt. And we can go down here and have a whole bunch of dummy text again. So I'm just going to paste that in. And then of course within the variable product we have our inventory. So we're going to name a SKU for this. I'm going to call it 10,002. We can enable stock management at the product level if you want. We already talked about shipping. We talked about linked products. We talked about the advanced settings here. I didn't talk much about cart flows yet. Now you might have noticed the 2 that I skipped were the attributes and variations. So let's start off with attributes. And being that this is a t-shirt, this could be anything from size to color to fit, whatever it might be. So let's go and click add. And the first one, let's make it size. And we want to separate the sizes by a little vertical bar. So I'm going to say extra small, small, medium, large, and let's say extra large as well. And we can choose, do we want to use these for variations? I'm going to say yes for now. So we're going to say save attribute. There's the first one. And the next one, let's just say we have maybe 2 different colors. I'm going to say add a new one. And this is going to be color. And we have navy and we have white. And so I'm going to save that. Of course, like I said, you could make any different ones. You could have fit, you could have different variations of the style of it, whatever it might be. But you get the idea. Those are the attributes we have. If we go down to, so let's say save attributes first of all, make sure it's saved. So now if we go down to variations, we can see there's add variation, or we can create variations from all attributes. So let's do that, click on go. It's going to make kind of a matrix or a permutation. You can see 10 variations were added because we had 5 different sizes and 2 different colors, so 10 total variations. And now we have all 10 of the variations. You can see extra small navy, extra small white, and it goes each size and each color for 10 total variations. It gave them each a little number on the left side as well, so you can differentiate them. And when you click on any one of them, so if you click on this rectangle here, it'll expand it, and you can see we have some other things we can add about here. The weight, the dimensions, the shipping class, and of course we can add a price as well. So if you want to have a price for all of them, that's fine. If you want to have different prices for each one, that's kind of the main benefit of doing a variable product. So we could add in maybe for extra small white, it could be on sale. So maybe that could be like $14 where the regular price is like $15. So $15, and the sale price could be like $14. That would be like one option, but you'd want to go through and make sure each one has its own price and they're all set to go. They all have their own SKU. It gives you a little number here, but you really want to be making your own SKU as well so you can track for different software or however you like to track your inventory. It's nice to have a SKU tracked right there. So that's essentially what you do with the variable product. Let's go back. So let's save this one. Let's actually add some media and save it so we can put it on the website. And then I want to talk about some of the other product styles we have, including digital products, grouped products, things like that. So let's set a product image with this. We have a t-shirt there. That's from a tutorial I made a little while ago. Not quite the right naming on there, Santrel coffee, whatever. So you get the idea of what this is going to be. So let's actually make sure we save this. We can actually publish this product. So there we go. This one's ready to go. Actually, it doesn't have a product description, so let's just copy and add one in right there. So we'll update that, and now we have another product that is really ready to go. But something I want to point out is you're actually able to do a lot more. If you want to have different pictures with each variation, you can do that as well. So you can have a featured image, as you see right there. You can upload a specific image. So if you have maybe like men's sizes and women's sizes. You might have like a male and a female model, and you can have images for those uploaded here. But in general, I'm just going to use one image for all the products and not change anything. Again, I don't recommend that. I recommend you have, especially for different colors, you definitely want to have different colored images, but I don't want to waste your time. Let's go back and make some other products here. So let's say update. We'll go back to all products. And from here, let's go and add another product. So we'll say add new. And remember, there are quite a few different styles of product we can have. So we already have a simple product. We have a variable product. We have no subscriptions yet, but let's talk about an affiliate product first. Let's just say if you want to have maybe an affiliate marketing website. Maybe you have on your website, you want to have something else, but it's not made by you, it's by a partner. Maybe it's a piece of software. Who knows what it might be? Sometimes an affiliate product might be the way to go. So once again, you're going to have your product name on the top. And so let's just say maybe this is going to be a coffee machine from some company. So let's go to Amazon and look up Amazon.com. Let's look up coffee maker. And so maybe we really recommend this one right here. Maybe that's the best way to make our coffee. What you could do is Amazon actually has an affiliate program. I'm not using it with this one right here, with this browser right here. But if we have their affiliate program, we'd have a link. So I'm just going to use this link for the sake of example. And we can go back and we can use this. So let's just say the product name is Luxury Coffee Maker. And we have some dummy text in there. So this is our... And then down here, because we chose external or affiliate product, we can paste the product URL right there. The button text can say buy product, so when people click on that, it links them over to Amazon or wherever your affiliate link is pointing to. We can type the price right here, and so the price looks like it is $104.99. So regular price is $104.99, and so that's the price that they would obviously care about. We don't need to worry about inventory because it's not our product, it's somebody else's attributes, all this other stuff. You really don't need to worry about much else, but we should have a product image. So let's set a product image. For this, I'm just going to copy this image right here. So we're going to save this image into the folder. There we go, the product image is ready to go. And so that's essentially how you'd set up an affiliate product. Of course, you have a lot of freedom with this. You can add a lot of text on here. You can set all different types of products or software products on your website that maybe you're an affiliate with somebody else, and that would be a great way to make some extra money if you're either making an affiliate website for a blog, or of course, if you're doing what we're doing here and you have some kind of online store and you wanted to sell something that maybe is not yours, but you can somehow get a commission off of anyway, and it's like an adjacent product that sells really well. So let's see what other kind of products we can have on here. So we have an affiliate product, we have a regular product, we've got a variable product. Let's talk about a digital product now. So if we go and add new, let's just say maybe we have a coffee recipe ebook. And we just have a lot of recipes for different coffee or something like that, and I'm just going to put some whatever text in here for the description of the product as well. And here, the idea is we want to go down and choose a simple product and then choose that this is downloadable. This is a downloadable product. So we can click on downloadable product. We can choose the price of this. So let's say this ebook is maybe like $5 and that is the regular price. We don't need a sale for this one. And the downloadable file, we can then go and click add file. We can name the file. So this is going to be we're going to call this ebook. I'm just going to call it ebook for now. You can have a URL for it, or you can choose the file. I'm going to go and just upload just like some PDF from my computer. Let's just say maybe, for example, this. So we have our file there. We can choose the download limit. Maybe this is unlimited downloads. Maybe they're allowed to download once when they purchase it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that just in case somebody screws up, and they're going to be really upset if they paid for it and maybe their computer crashed and they need to download it again. So 2 seems like a pretty safe number, and we can make sure that the download really never expires, so there's no limit on when they have to do that. And I think that's really all we would need to do here. Of course, inventory does not matter with this. Shipping does not matter with this. Linked products, upsells, and cross-sells. I mentioned that we would talk about this later on in the video, and now probably is a good time to talk about this, where when they are on the product page, on the very bottom you can see there are upsells, there are cross-sells, and they're pretty much really similar items. One would be in a slightly different location, but basically, if you have another product that you think is going to be either related to this and it's going to improve the product, so for example, if you're selling a coffee maker, maybe somebody would really care about like a thermometer or some type of special coffee mug or something like that, that would be an upsell, and you might want to encourage people to include that. Or a cross-sell would be something that maybe is slightly different. So if they're looking at one coffee maker and you have a different model, maybe you want to show down there like, hey, people are also interested in this coffee maker. Maybe the one you're looking at isn't the right one for you, and we have a different option for that. So because all of our products are very, very different here. It doesn't really matter that much. So let's just say in search, let's just say we want to have shirt, our t-shirt. Let's just say we want to have that as an upsell, and maybe as a cross sell, we want to add maybe our beans, our coffee beans, or ground coffee bag. There we go. So that's something that you might want to add, and I'll show you guys exactly where that is. Once we save this product, we can add an image for this. This is an ebook, so we want to have some type of image. I'm just going to say that's the image right there. It's just our logo for this product. And otherwise, I mean, product gallery, remember that's where you're going to have more images for the product. So if we want to have maybe like this image, maybe this one right here as some different coffee recipes, I'm going to add these to the gallery. And of course, we can save this one as well. Once again, not having a category, but we're just going to publish this. So I think you guys are starting to get an idea of what the tools are available that allow you to make different products on WooCommerce. But let's go and click on this right now and see what this product page looks like. You can see coffee recipe ebook, it's $5, has a lot of recipes. We can add it to the cart. It doesn't really make sense to have the quantity there, so we might want to edit that out and not have that there. We can see the ebook cover, of course, a couple other pictures as well. And then down here, you might also like, so this is the t-shirt that we talked about, and of course, related products would be the coffee maker. So remember how I said the cross-sell and the upsell, they're both showing up there, just slightly different in how they actually are positioned on the page. So depending on which text you like better, if you only want one of these, you can have multiple things that are cross-sell or multiple that are upsell. I just have one of each here. And you know, that's just an optional thing that I chose to do. Back into products, I just want to point out that there are some other products. I'm not going to dive into some of the other ones. I think you guys get the idea of how we would go about adding different products and what they might do. So we have a simple product, we have an affiliate product, we have a variable product. I didn't do anything about subscriptions. That's really another video. I'm not going to talk about that right now much. And another example that I'm not going to dive into, but I'll explain what it is. This is a grouped product, and this would be, for example, if you're selling maybe silverware and you have fork, spoon, knife, and you don't know how many of each one people want, you can have all three of them listed there, and they can choose like quantities for each one. So they can have like 10 spoons, 5 forks, and like 2 knives, and they can add that to their cart, and that would be essentially a grouped product where they're getting multiple of different or very slightly different things that are all listed under one name. So they don't have to go back and search for forks and go back and search for knives. Having everything together is a little bit more convenient, and that is essentially what a grouped product is. So that's essentially what I wanted to show you with products, but of course we want to talk about the categories now. I mentioned that we already made one that was for the coffee beans, but there is a little bit more to it. So it came with the groceries and juice. No matter what, even if you don't make new categories, make sure you go and delete the other categories that are not relevant that came with your template. So I'm going to go and delete these. We'll say okay, delete that one. We'll go and delete the juice one. Okay. Uncategorized, you're never going to delete that because some products just are not assigned a category and by default go there. And we could add other categories as well. I showed you kind of how to make a new one, but when you make a new category, it's important that you edit these 4 things over here. This is really your search engine optimization that allows Google to identify your category. And so you want to make sure you have a name. The slug is going to be at the end. So we're lunarcoffee.com/coffee grinds might be a category that would be the coffee beans or the coffee grinds. So the little thing that you add to the end is called a URL slug. If you have a parent category, you'd add that here, and that would be one of the other categories that already exist. And so if you have a very large library, you might have like clothing, and within that you might have shirts. Within that you might have like men's t-shirts or something. And so you can add a description below here, and of course default display type, I'm just going to leave it as default for now, and we can add a thumbnail as for that category as well. So categories really only matter a lot if you start to have a large product library, obviously. And so for this, being that we only have about 4 or 5 products, I'm not going to make any more categories, but you guys get the idea of how we would go about doing that. So at this point, I think we have a pretty good library. We really have a solid foundation with this website, and I think we're ready to go and make the website look a little bit better. We're ready to actually flesh it out, and that's kind of one of the last steps here besides the marketing and the SEO. So from here, what we could do is we can actually go up to pages. So you can see pages, we have a lot of different pages that it came with, but a home page is going to be the main one that we're editing first. And so if we just hover over this, you'll see a couple menu options pop up below that, and we click on Edit with Elementor. And that's going to open this little interface right here, which is the Elementor interface, which allows you to edit with a really nice click and drag layout. So I want to give you guys kind of a big, higher picture here of what we're looking at. So in the middle, this big window is essentially everything that is on your website, pretty much in like an interactive version of it, but instead of clicking on the things, you're able to edit individual items. So as you scroll down, you'll see this is what your website actually would look like when somebody visits it. You can see that we have kind of a blue box that outlines each different section. And so there are different terms for this: strip layout, block layout, section layout, whatever you want to call it. Elementor likes to call them sections, and each section has a couple things within the section. There's different ways you can set up a section. So this one right here, you can see has 4 different columns, as they're calling them. So the little dotted, kind of white dotted outline is a column. So you can see this one right here has 2 columns. This section has 4 columns. This one is a single column, but it has a couple things within the column. And then within each column is where you have different elements. And the elements, as you can see, if we click on the little array of 9 dots up there, the elements could be your text, your images, your buttons, your videos, whatever it might be. You see all of these are elements, and they're outlined in little blue boxes. So whichever of those 3 tiers you want to edit, if you want to edit the column, if you want to edit the item itself, or if you want to edit the entire section, all you have to do is hover over it, click on it. So click on the little 6-dot array for a section, and we have some settings over here. So within the settings, we can change things like the size of it, the layout, the alignment of it. If we go to style, we can change the background color, we can change the shadow, the outline color. You really have a lot that you can do with this, and we've made full tutorials on how to use Elementor. Because we have a nice template here, I'm not going to dive too deep into the massive customization you can do with Elementor. And keep in mind, you're also able to upgrade to Elementor Pro for even more functionality on here, but Elementor Free has the fundamentals that you'll really need, at least to get started. And of course, if you go to advanced, you can change things like spacing above and below it, with margin and with padding. But essentially, let's talk a little bit more about customizing the website we already have. So from here, let's go and start off with the text. So over here, I'm just going to click on any one of these, and if you double click, you can highlight it and you can change what that text actually is. So we can say best quality coffee. And then we could say join the organic movement. Let's just change it a little bit and say join the coffee. Let's just say join the coffee movement. We have some dummy text down there. I'm not going to change that, but maybe we want to say like a specific phrase is really important. So we can go and make that one phrase bold. So if we highlight that, we can make it bold. We can make it underlined, or you can also link things out as well. So if this right here is one of our products, so we could say like such as our favorite coffee. And let's say we want that button to maybe link to the All Products page. So I'm going to go and paste the link to the All Products tab on the top, and that's going to bring you over there. So we're going to go and update that. Now it's ready to, this little section's pretty much ready to go. Obviously, we want to change this picture, and so to do that, let's click on just the picture itself. We can go and choose an image, and of our images, maybe we want, so let's go with this one right here and say insert media. There we go. So I think that already looks pretty nice. And of course, this little picture right here doesn't quite fit in like we want it to. So I'm going to either choose a new image. Maybe this could be like our logo, for example, or we could just get rid of it altogether. Now this is too big. You can see our logo doesn't really fit here. So we can go and make this a lot smaller. So we can either go with medium right there, or even something smaller. We can say it's like a little catalog icon. You can change it however you want. You can even customize it to whatever size you think makes the most sense. For the purposes of this, I'm going to make it a small thumbnail, just so it's a little icon right up on the top there. So far, this section, I think, looks pretty good. We're going to click on Update. It's always important to click Save as much as possible. I've had too many times, either myself or other people I've been working with have been working. You get distracted after maybe 45 minutes of working. Something happens, the browser might crash or something, and you lose a lot of progress. So definitely make sure you're always saving as much as possible. Something else, you might wonder what this little thing is in the background, and it's always hard to tell exactly where they put that, but I would bet they put that as the background of this entire section. So if we click on the section, we can go to Style, we can go and see if they have a background overlay, and sure enough, they do have a background overlay in the bottom right. So if we don't want that, we could change it with any other image out there. Now, I don't really like the little eucalyptus looking leaf, so I'm going to choose a different image that's more related to our coffee. So I'm going to upload a file, just maybe like some coffee bean clip art, for example, I think might be a good thing to have right there. And so I have a little image right here. We'll use that, and we'll see if we can get this to look kind of similar to what they had right there. So right now, it's kind of in the background. It's a little bit lighter. It's kind of transparent. And so we can change the opacity of this to make it a little bit lighter, or you can make it as dark as you want, depending on what the text looks like around it. So I'm going to make it even almost like invisible, so you can really read everything on top of it very easily. And you can see the width of this. Let's make this like a little bit smaller as well. And there we go. So now you have a nice little overlay on the background. I think that looks pretty clean. I like how some designs do that. If your template doesn't have that, it's very easy to add as well. Like I said, just click on the section you want. So if we want to add it to, for example, maybe like this section right here, all you have to do is click on the little array of 6 dots, go to Style, and then from Style, click on Background Overlay, and you can add an image. Like I said, this one right here, if we want to add it maybe on the bottom down here. And we have some other things we can adjust. Remember, opacity is going to make it a lot lighter. We can change the width of it to make it a lot smaller. And of course, we can change the location of it. The position right now is in the top left. We want to maybe make this on the bottom right. And that's what they did up there. You can see that this little section looks a lot like the section down here. So that's essentially how you'd go about adding that. Then we have, of course, you might wonder what this little thing with the gray with the little dots in the middle. This is usually some type of other code that was embedded in here. So if we click on that, you can see right now we have short code. Don't worry about this. You can either delete this if it's not related to what you're doing, or if you have a different plugin, maybe if you have something like a quiz or some type of little thing, plugin that you found on the App Store. It's easy to have different apps that you can just go and add little plugins here to have fun little games or quizzes or animations or whatever it might be. Embedding things with shortcode, it is kind of a fun thing to do. A little bit more advanced. I wouldn't recommend it as a beginner, but you know, if you're wondering what that is, that's exactly what it is. Then we can go down and take a look at maybe this section right here. So I talked about how these are all different columns. In each column, we have some little text and we have an icon on the left. So if I just click on the little pencil icon, you can see we have an icon, we have a little title, and we have something below that. So you can adjust any one of these. I'm gonna leave all of these here. I think they all look pretty related to what I want, which is why I think it's convenient if you find essentially a template that's at least similar enough to what you're selling that you don't have to remake every single little icon and every single one of these. I think this looks pretty decent, so I'm gonna keep that in there. If anything, maybe I would change the color scheme, but for now, that looks good enough. We've got our best-selling products, and so this little thing right here, that's going to be actually what our products are. That's what that short code's pulling up. And we have another little image here. Again, I keep changing this little eucalyptus leaf out with some coffee beans. So I'm gonna insert some coffee beans. Way too big. We're gonna make them more of a medium or maybe even a thumbnail size, make them a little bit smaller. I still don't think that looks good, so instead I'm actually just going to delete that altogether. So let's go and just delete the picture. I don't want the image right there. And below that we've got a little leaf. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe it's from like a coffee plant. And below that we have a couple little things down here. These, once again, are essentially, you've got text, you've got a title, you've got a paragraph, you've got a button, and the background has an overlay that is not transparent. That's why it looks like this. These are all very, very easy to make, and each column, you can see, has a little shadow around the outside. So if you guys want to know a little bit more about shadows, maybe adding them or removing them, we just click on Edit Column, and if we go over to Style, we should have a shadow on here. So if we go down to Border, you'll see a little text that says box shadow, and if we click on the pencil icon, you can adjust what the shadow looks like if you want it to be more blurred, less blurred, if you want it to go out further, where the position of it is, things like that. And so that's essentially, you can also change the color. That's how you'd go about editing the shadow that is around each of those boxes. I personally am a big fan of shadows because when you have kind of a light color in the background, and then a white box on top, usually you need something a little bit darker, a little bit more contrast there so it pops out, and it remains easy to read and easy to look at as well. We've got a little 25% off your first purchase. We'll talk about how to actually set up coupons. I'll show you that in just a minute, but let's say right here, let's say with coupon Mike. Just do that for now, and then we don't need this button, which also, if you want to get rid of, for example, this, all you have to do is right click on it, or on a laptop, just click with 2 fingers and go down and delete that column. So now we don't have that, and we just have one column here, and so maybe instead I want this to be center justified. You just click on the column and then click on the little center icon there, and now this is ready to go. So as we scroll down, you get the idea of how you can change a lot of things on here. If you want to add a new section, on the bottom you can see we have this little dotted outline, and so this is obviously not showing up on your website. This is just part of the editor. We can click on the little plus icon, or we can add a template. Once you make templates, you can use them here, or you can go and add a starter template, which is a pre-made template that you don't have to do anything for, but they might have one that would be like a contact little block. It could be anything out there. If we go to blocks, not pages, we want blocks, you can see things like testimonials that are kind of pre-made, and it's really convenient to build off of that as opposed to building it from scratch and having to put everything in the right location and resize things. at least the sizing and the formatting is usually much more convenient to just take a pre-made block, especially for something that has like testimonials or a bunch of columns in it. So I'm gonna close this out. I'm not actually looking to make anything else on the bottom, but if you wanted to, again, just click on add a new section. And if you want to add things from the left side, all we have to do is go in and click on the 6 dots or the 9 dots, and we can click and drag any one of these elements into this box. So if we want to have a heading, we can click and drag heading into there until you see the blue line appear. Click on the 9 dots again. Maybe below that we want to have a video, so we can click and drag video until the thick blue line appears. Drop the video in right there. And then maybe below that we want to have another section. We want to have 2 sub columns, so we can click and drag this in here and have 2 sub columns within this one. And let's just say with each one of those, we want to have maybe an image on the left side, and on the right side, we want to have the classic text or title, text, button. So we'll go title, text, oops, wrong spot. I didn't want that up there. Let's go and delete that from up there. So text right there. And then lastly, let's go and add a button below that. Now I'm not going to show you too much about how to edit these. I think you guys get the idea. All you have to do is click on any one of them. And I do have that full tutorial on how to use Elementor if you want more details about how to do that. But in general, I think a lot of people could kind of figure it out once you get to this point, how to edit and change based on your website's needs. So I'm going to click on update. But before we leave this, there is one last thing with the editing that is incredibly important that everybody forgets about, and that is editing in a mobile mode. So what we want to do is click on responsive mode, and on the top you can see this is the desktop version, there's a tablet version, and a mobile version. Let's click on mobile. This is what your website looks like if somebody visits from their phone, which if you don't think people will, you are probably mistaken. There are so many people visiting so many websites on their phone. It's at least half of internet traffic right now. And so if you scroll down, you can see the website looks pretty decent because we used a template that I think was already pretty much made to look good on both desktop and mobile. But as you make changes, it's really important to go and check this out. And if for some reason you decide you really don't like something and it doesn't look good on the mobile version of your website, so maybe these right here just don't look good, the good thing is you can actually hide them very, very easily. So if we click on this section, all you have to do is click on the little 6 dots, which, there we go, click on that. And if we go over to advanced, you can go down to responsive, and from here, we can hide this on mobile. So it's kind of grayed out right now, and no longer will people see this when they visit your mobile site. But it still is going to be on your desktop site. So you can see right here, it's still there, it's not grayed out. And that's a really nice feature that I like to use a lot to have the website look slightly differently on the mobile versus desktop, because sometimes things just don't work out on both of them. So we're gonna click update, and that's essentially how you'd go about customizing your website. Now, let's exit this. Let's go and click on the top left, go down to exit to dashboard, and there's a couple more things we wanna talk about. I mentioned coupons, I mentioned marketing. Let's dig a little bit more into both of those. So click on the WordPress icon again, and from WooCommerce, we can just click on WooCommerce in general. And from here, we want to set up payments, we want to set up tax, shipping, and get into marketing tools. But let's first talk a little bit more about setting up those coupons. So if you hover over marketing on the left side, we can go to coupons, and from here we can create our first one, and you have a lot of options. WooCommerce gives you a ton of different styles of coupons, and there's coupon extensions you can get where they give you group ones, they give you free gifts, they give you their smart ones. But I'm just gonna go and say create your first coupon right now. In this one, the coupon code is gonna be Mike, like I said, and maybe this is going to give you you're gonna get 25% off with code Mike, and there's going to be a fixed, this is going to be a percentage discount. We're going to say the discount is 25% off. Maybe it allows free shipping, and there is no expiration date with this. Actually, let's say it expires in a month. But you'll notice that there are quite a few different coupons here as well. You can have a fixed cart discount, so maybe like so many dollars off. You can have a product discount. You can have sign up fee discount, sign up fee % discount, recurring product discount, all types of different ways you can save money or allow other people to save money to otherwise encourage more people to potentially buy your products or at least be more interested in shopping with your store. So we're going to publish this. So now that the big banner on our website that said 25% off with code Mike actually does work. So that is now ready to go. But let's go and check out our website. Don't take my word for it. If we go to lunarcoffee.com, we can go to all products, and let's say maybe someone's interested in the 1 pound coffee bag, the bag of coffee. We can go and add that to the cart. They can view their cart, And from the cart, if they have a coupon, they can just type in Mike and they can apply that. And just like that, they're getting 25% off, brings it down to $12.74. This is a pretty professional shopping cart, especially for just starting this a couple minutes ago and having absolutely no coding experience. You guys can really make a really impressive website, e-commerce store with almost no experience at all just from this video so far. But let's go back. Now that we have our coupons, there are other things we want to do. So let's go back to WooCommerce. We talked about the next thing. Let's just walk right down it. Let's go and set up payments. So if you click on set up payment, they're going to have you set up like Stripe or PayPal or things like that. I'm not going to walk through this too much because I'm not actually accepting payments. I don't have any of these real products, but essentially all you do is click on setup for Stripe, for example, and they're going to walk you through how to connect your account. It should be very, very straightforward and easy. Once you have a Stripe account, you'll sign in or create one, and then you're going to connect it on here. Going back to WooCommerce, we can set up tax. This really only takes about a minute, so we can say continue setup with that one. It's going to calculate sales tax based on location and things like that. It's powered by Jetpack, and it is 100% free to use, so we can install and enable that. And then we just connect it to our store. Really pretty easy. Of course, you could say you don't charge sales tax if it's somehow like built into your price or something like that. And we're just going to say, let's say connect right now. We're going to connect it. So once you have your payments, your tax, setup shipping, this is going to be a very similar thing where you can set up the shipping costs. I'm just going to have free shipping for the US and not for the rest of the world. We're going to say complete that task. That's a pretty straightforward thing to add. We can set up the marketing tools. This is essentially kind of, they're trying to get you to use some of their partners right here. They want to use MailChimp or some other things like Creative Mail for WooCommerce. MailChimp is a really powerful one, and I have an entire tutorial on how the ins and outs of using MailChimp. I'll link that down below if you guys want to see how to use MailChimp, because it is a great way to email people to recover abandoned carts. So if somebody adds something to the cart, maybe somebody knocked on their door, they walked over there, their laptop died, and maybe they just didn't check out, but they still want to buy your product. An abandoned cart recovery email could be a really nice way to save that. Additionally, one of the best ways to market, and one of the most effective and affordable ways to market to people, is to market to customers that you already had, people that bought something from you before. Maybe you can send them emails with discounts or new collections, or otherwise build a community, build an audience, build a brand around that, and you're more likely to get more sales from the people that already bought something from you. And additionally, it's not going to cost you anything except whatever your MailChimp subscription is going to cost, which is based on how many subscribers you have. So that's some of the marketing options you have. But within here, there is also a lot of search engine optimization you could do, the organic side of marketing, and this is a really powerful one as well. So what I recommend to most people is a plugin called Yoast SEO. So if we go down here, we can scroll down on the left side, scroll down to plugins, click on plugins. We can add a new plugin. Let's dismiss the giant Jetpack thing. We don't want that right now. And we can go and add a new plugin. So click on add new. And from here, we want to look up one called Yoast. That's Y-O-A-S-T, Yoast. We can search for that. And Yoast is an incredibly popular one. You can see right here, over 5 million active installations. It's a really powerful tool that kind of guides you and walks you through the ins and outs of search engine optimization to help you rank on Google. They'll point out things that you're not doing. They'll give you tools to add things that help your website. And so installing this, let's click on install, and then we will click on activate, and it's going to show up next to all of your pages and your blog posts and everything like that on the back end, on your side, to really help you optimize everything as much as possible. So if we go up to posts, for example, you'll see right now let's get rid of this. We don't want either of these posts. These are blog posts in the post category. Bulk actions, let's move these to trash. Click apply. That will send them over to your trash can. And let's just say we want to make a new blog post. So all we want to do is click on add new. We can make this either through the editor here or through Elementor. So I'm going to go and edit this with Elementor. But let's first start off with a title. Let's call this one how to roast coffee. And we can type in our block if we want. I'm going to edit this with Elementor, but down here you can see this little section is what Yoast has. Yoast tells you the SEO score. Right now they're both red for readability and for the SEO. And the reason for that is because obviously we don't have anything written yet, but you can choose a focus key phrase, what this is trying to target in Google, 2 or 3 words, for example, and this will show you what your Google results look like as a preview on both mobile and on desktop. I think that's really convenient. They show you what the SEO title is. We can choose the URL slug, so lunarcoffee.com/what, and this is probably going to be the title of your article, for example, sometimes condensed. So instead of like how to roast coffee, it could be roast coffee beans, just so it's a little bit easier to remember. And of course, the meta description is going to be this little paragraph down here that is showing up in Google. They'll give you an analysis of what's working, what's not working, the text length, the key phrases, the density, things like that. Yoast does a really good job. I like that. But let's say we want to add, let's just flesh this out and make our first blog post here. If we go to edit with Elementor, we will go and say, yes, leave the site. And from here, it's going to give you a pretty blank page. So of course you can add things like your title right there, which we already do have a title, so we probably don't even really need that. And of course we can add our text below that. And this is really going to be a lot of the same tools we had for building out the entire page. But this is going to be essentially just like your entire blog post. The formatting that it got really messed up. So you can have your blog post in here and add images or whatever you want to do, and that's going to be how you set up your blogs. Now, you can make them look a lot better than it looks right here. It's really not hard to make them look a lot better, but for now, you guys get the idea of how we'd actually go about doing this. We can click on publish, and this blog post is going to be out there for everybody to see as it starts to rank on Google or as you share it on social media or whatever your strategy might actually be. So I think blog posts are generally a good way for a lot of stores to kind of get some organic marketing, especially if you are, for example, if you sell spices, you can maybe make a recipe blog. If you sell like surfboard equipment, you can make blogs about how to start surfing, things like that. And they're a good way to provide value to people, but also recommend your own products in a fair and organic way that doesn't cost you anything, and it also can really boost your revenue in general. Now, other than that, I want to point out that on the left side, we have media. I'm just going to go down the left side and point out each thing that we have. So media is going to be all the pictures and the files that we already uploaded. We can see pages. These are going to be on a higher level. These will be like an about page, a cart page, checkout, things like that. And so if you want to edit any one of them, just click on edit with Elementor. If you just click on regular edit, I'll show you what that does in a second. It doesn't actually let you edit anything. It shows you the little box that says you have to edit with Elementor unless you want to switch back to the WordPress editor, which I don't recommend. But from here, you can actually go in and do some of the SEO stuff that we mentioned before, from adding URL slugs to the metadata down here, things like that. But if we go to edit with Elementor, of course, the same tool set, but here it's going to show you the other page, and you can edit whatever you want within any one of these pages. It's it's really a powerful editor in my opinion. That's why we like to use Elementor, especially because it's scalable as well. It starts off free, and as you want more tools, you can pay whenever you're ready to upgrade to those more premium tools with Elementor Pro. So guys, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you about making a website, especially an online store like this, using Hostinger, using WordPress. And so if we just go and visit our site, you can see just from almost no effort at all in this video, we've already made a pretty solid looking website that shows you a lot about what you're selling, and all you really have to do now is change the images on here, change the text on here, maybe change a little bit of formatting here and there, but you now have the tools and are able to do that. So I wish you the best of luck with your online stores, with your e-commerce websites. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien from Santrel Media. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.